that was just a call with the investors board for London Bridge project. The one remaining piece that has been holding us up is the offer for affordable housing. Now, we've made a lot of movement on that over the past couple of weeks. We've bottomed it out and made a formal offer to them. We're waiting for a bit of feedback on that so that we can get it all tied off. The report can be written and we can get to committee before Christmas. Bit touch and go as to whether or not that's going to happen, so we're obviously managing it very carefully on a daily basis to make sure we keep the momentum going and move in the right direction. At the same time, our finance facilities on the scheme are reaching maturity, which means that there's a slight timing piece to manage there in terms of when the current facilities are due for redemption versus when we can get the development finance to slot in. So there's a few little bits and pieces to balance there in terms of procuring the development finance, but then also managing an extension on the current facilities so that we can bridge the gap in between the two. At the same time, the cash equity resources are reaching the end of what we had budgeted for, which means that to keep the project running and to service some of the debt repayments that we have and to service some of the invoices that we have from suppliers, we need to also raise a little bit of additional funding. So we've kind of got three big things happening simultaneously on the finance side, which is one, short-term immediate funding to keep the project moving, two, extending the existing facilities that are about to mature, and three, procuring the development finance, which will ultimately swap out the current development facilities. So there's a lot happening. Hence, in situations like this, what I've found and learned over the years, and I guess it makes sense, even when there is uncertainty and we do not know the answers, it's far better for everyone to be in the same boat, literally going for the ride at the same time, rather than kind of reporting on it, you know, in an out of sync fashion with when things are actually happen. Everyone wants to kind of be involved, put their ideas in, which is great, and actually, you know, good things come of it, and everyone remains on the same page. So simply because of that, we have then moved our kind of monthly or quarterly board meetings as they were a while ago, and we've turned them into board meetings when we need them, but of course weekly investor update calls to keep everyone on the same page. So absolutely essential to keep the project moving along in the right direction and make sure all of the key stakeholders are coming along with us for the journey. So yeah, we've been working with Deloitte to take over the accounting function. Now all of the day-to-day stuff in statutory reporting is very easy to bottom out. As part of it, we've got a senior guy from Deloitte who will kind of work in a finance director capacity for us, which means they do the strategic overview, the strategic guidance, which means that we've got, you know, very experienced eyes, you know, monitoring our P&L, the metrics, the performance of the business, the costs in the business, and so that when I get my, you know, regular updates on finance, it's coming from someone who's got that experience, who understands the numbers, they're looking at the analysis, they're looking at the trends, they're looking at the statistics, and all of that work's kind of already been done, and I can just have an informed conversation with them from an experienced person about, you know, the financial movements in the business, which will then enable us to do a few things: track progress better, manage growth better, predict cash flow trends better, and overall have tighter financial control of the business. So the call that I'm about to hop on now is with those guys from Deloitte, just to kind of bottom out exactly what it is that I'm looking for, and how, you know, we can structure the FD side of the role. So hopping on that now. So another thing that I quite like about the way the Row NYC have set things up is that within the hotel complex they've got like this kind of food market, city kitchen thing, which they call, and whilst it's kind of like a separate offer, it's actually really cool because they've kind of branded it all as part of the whole Row NYC experience, which I think is pretty cool because it becomes like a hotel with a food market. They've got their gym facilities, and, you know, they've obviously partnered up with third-party providers, but they've done it all under the hotel brand and umbrella, which I think is really quite effective. Well, if I'm in Manhattan, then I may as well be a tourist, right? Customary. Cheeky little bit of Times Square. Why not? When I do these shots in London, there's just like these little small buildings around, but over here, of course, the buildings just tower off into the sky. I think it's amazing.